Hello, wine enthusiasts. Welcome to the Daily Taste for Tuesday, May 17th, 2022. Winemakers today have lots of options when it comes to selecting vessels they use for fermentation. Typically, white wines are fermented in stainless steel tanks, where the temperature of the fermentation can be controlled with cooling jackets, cooled with glycol. A lot of red wines are also fermented in stainless steel tanks before being moved to oak barrels for aging. The decision which vessel to use usually depends on the style of wine being made. For example, some grapes and juice that are used to make high-end red wines can be fermented in a stainless steel tank or can be pumped directly from the destemmer into an oak barrel for fermentation. Using stainless steel tanks to ferment wine is more economical and requires much less labor, while fermenting in oak barrels is the opposite. Using oak barrels for fermentation is expensive, as a new French oak barrel can cost up to $3,000 a piece. It's also much more labor intensive and requires a lot more space in the winery. The barrels containing the fermenting red wine have to be moved to special racks that allow the winemaking team to rotate them back and forth every day. This ensures the oak is introduced evenly to the must and juice. The benefits to fermenting in oak barrels includes adding silkiness to the tannins and a rounder, more lush mouthfeel. Sometimes white wines like Chardonnay are also fermented in oak barrels when the winemaker desires oak influence or wants to age the wine on the lees. Aging white wine on the lees is called sur-lees aging. The lees are all the dead yeast cells that are a byproduct of fermentation that sink to the bottom of the barrel. The lees release sugars and proteins into the wine that combine with tannins to soften the mouthfeel. Sur-lees aging also requires regular stirring of the barrels, which has to be the worst job in the cellar, especially if there are a lot of barrels to stir. Fermentation is not limited to oak or stainless steel. Some winemakers are experimenting with the benefits of other fermenting vessels like concrete eggs. Here's a clip from an interview I did with Visa Tui winemaker Jason Moravec, who talks about the impact of fermenting wine in a concrete egg.
Yeah, so when we're talking about fermentation, the container or the tank that you put it in changes what the wine's going to taste like. So other options are we're talking about it could be in a stainless steel tank, it can be in an oak barrel, it can be in a smaller stainless steel barrel, it can be in these concrete eggs, and each of these has different characteristics that impart flavor and texture to the wine. So specifically talking about concrete eggs, we often find that a lot of minerality can be added to the wine by putting it into a concrete egg. And Riesling, the variety on its own, already has a lot of minerality to it. So we're kind of maximizing the direction that Riesling already wants to go. So it's just a natural vessel that Riesling likes to be in. Another thing with the concrete egg is its shape. It's a very unique shape. It's not a flat bottom to it. And so it creates these almost like these currents of movement in the concrete egg. So the leaves never want to settle. So all the material left over from fermentation doesn't want to sink to the bottom. It wants to naturally stay suspended. And so while it's aging in the concrete egg, you're also picking up a lot of these creamy texture aromas and flavors from the leaves being constantly suspended. This is something that we call sur-lee aging when we do it in oak barrels, but we have to do it by hand, where we go in and we stir the barrel once a week or once every other week to be able to suspend those leaves, all that sediment back into the wine while it's aging, where the concrete egg does it naturally. It just wants to constantly be mixing itself. And then also the concrete egg they're not temperature controlled. So the stainless steel tanks, we can control the temperature and control the fermentation, whereas a concrete egg, the temperature of the fermentation is going to get warmer. Fermentation creates its own heat, and the heat rises. And the faster you ferment, the more heat you create, and it gets warmer and warmer. And so by doing this, it also changes the flavors that you can get out of the wine.
One of my favorite experiences working at Visa Tui was working with the Riesling we fermented in the concrete egg. I've uploaded some videos to the show website that I took of active fermentations of a red wine in a stainless steel tank and of the Riesling in a concrete egg. Go to www.obsessedwithwine.net. Click the Daily Taste Segments button at the top of the homepage. Then click the link for this segment to see the videos. Finally, the beautiful new show website is finally up and running. Go to www.obsessedwithwine.net, where you'll find links of all episodes and some links from some wine discounts available to my listeners from wine.com and One Stop Wine Shop. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow for another daily taste. Cheers!